Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to talk about Empire Strikes Back. Technically the second movie in the Star Wars franchise that was ever made. But the fifth movie chronologically. If you don't include those spin-offs. Anyways. Empire Strikes Back has our heroes place on Hoth. This is where the rebel base is currently located. Essentially, Luke and Han are out on this patrol. Luke thinks he sees a meteorite, so he goes checks it out. He gets knocked out, gets trapped in this Wampa cave, and only used the Force to pull his father's lightsaber to come so free, cut off the Wampa's arm, and run, nearly dying, causing Leia, Han, Chewie, 3PO, R2, or more so like 3PO and Leia, to be worried about him, and Chewie worried about Han. And so, because Han essentially goes out to rescue him as Luke. And Luke, on the brink of dying, air quotes around dying because he doesn't die until the Last Jedi. He sees Obi-Wan. In Disney canon, he doesn't die until Last Jedi. I honestly forget when he dies in Legends. Anyways, Luke sees Obi-Wan's Force Ghost telling Luke to complete his training as a Jedi, he will have to go to the Dagobah system to get trained by Yoda. Then Han comes in, which I don't know how he didn't see Obi-Wan, or maybe he did and was more concerned about his friend's safety than saying, "Who the hell is that? Is that the old man who he's I was with in the last movie?" So essentially, while in Tauntauns die, Han uses the dead Tauntaun as like the little coat to keep Luke protected. There's these X-Wing patrols that searches for Han and Luke, which are successful. Luke is in this Bantha take, and don't worry, he doesn't ride like Bantha. Sorry, couldn't resist. And then essentially, before all of this happens, Han comes in, tells them, "Oh yeah, I need to leave. To pay off my debt with Jabba." And then Han and Leia have this little back and forth, with Leia telling Han how he truly feels about her. And Han says, "Are you afraid I'm not going to leave without giving you a goodbye kiss? I could use a goodbye kiss." And so the reason why I bring that up is because when Luke, Han, Leia, and Chewbacca are in the same room together after Han saves Luke, and the rebels save Han and Luke, Han makes a statement saying she expressed her true feelings for me. And that's when Leia kisses Luke. On one hand, you can argue that we just saw incest happen on the screen. And you'll be right, technically. But at the same time, you got this is one of those rare, and I do stress rare, exceptions, because Leia and Luke did not know that the other were related to each other. Luke, to this point, still was crushing on Leia until the events of Return of the Jedi, especially when he finds out that, oh yeah, this girl I've been having a thing for, yeah, that's my sister. So yeah, that whole kiss that can be called an incest kiss can be excused due to the fact that neither Leia or Luke knew that the other were related to each other. And then the whole like rebel, like the Empire, sends a probe droid. Han and Chewie destroys it. The Empire alerted to it, so they do an invasion of the rebel base on Hoth, which leads to this like 13ish minute evacuation. And Luke was supposed to rendezvous with our like the rebellion, but instead he has gone to the Dagobah system to get his training from Yoda, which he does essentially because it's like he crash lands into a swamp, and as like Luke's ship sinks into the swamp, he manages to get some of things out, and then he sees this little green creature that pretty much trolls him, and we see that this little green creature is Yoda, and that was Yoda's test for Luke. And essentially, like when we have that reveal, we see Yoda having some reservations because he can sense the anger in Luke, just like how Anakin has some anger. And of course, because of what happened to Anakin, Yoda has some fears that if he trains Luke, he will go down the dark side and make things worse. But Obi-Wan says, "Yeah, have faith in the boy. He is our best hope." Which, as we see in the next movie, Obi-Wan was right. And I do remember, I think it was I watched the Star Wars theory video. If I can find the video I'm referring to, I will put that in the description of this video so you guys can watch as well. But if memory serves me right, I saw this video where it said that the reason why Yoda at first was kind of like, after training this guy, is because Yoda was hoping that Leia was going to be there to help, like, to be the last hope, to train Leia Leia to be Yoda's last Padawan. So, I don't remember how accurate that is or not, especially since like the decanonization of what is considered as legends now. So then when like in the training, Luke senses that Han and Leia and them are in danger in the city of the clouds. So despite Obi-Wan and Yoda's warnings, Luke rushes to Cloud City, where while on this duration of his training, Han and Leia had escaped the Imperials, went to this asteroid field, fixed their ship, barely escaped this space worm, heading to Cloud City because they needed some repairs that they couldn't fix themselves. So they trusted Lando's people, which Lando turned out to be like working for the Empire by force of the Empire. So Han essentially gets frozen carbonite. Boba Fett takes Han as a reward for Jabba the Hutt. The heroes try to save Han Solo. In this movie, they fail. Luke comes in. He fights Vader. He sees Leia for a quick second before fighting Vader. And Luke gets his hand cut off. And he is told by Darth Vader, "I am your father." And of course, he's in disbelief because Darth Vader is like one of the most douchebag of people. And up to this point, Luke thought that his father was dead, and Luke was trying to honor his father. So puts him in a really awkward spot. So like Luke falls down into this hole, She calls out to Leia, which at this time Leia, Chewbacca, the droids, and Lando are in the Millennium Falcon. Which it is referenced that Lando had the Falcon before Han in this movie, before Lando met our group of heroes. And then what was I going to say? Oh, you're right. So Luke calls out to Leia after his attempts to call out to Obi-Wan failed, and in Obi-Wan's defense, Obi-Wan did tell Luke, if you get involved in this, I cannot interfere. You'll be on your own. I guess that made sense, because if he did interfere, that could alert Vader. And the ending to, like, Return of the Jedi would be very different next to, like, the whole story being made, like, different a lot. But of course, the world between worlds wasn't a thing back then, so thank God. Or, like, the constant resurrection. Or, like, at that time, even with the prequels, I do mean the films, not the Clone Wars, when you die, unless you're a Jedi having the ability to, like, become a Force ghost, which barely anyone had that ability to do, from my understanding, there was no way you could come back. Not unless it was, like, I guess, Night Sisters, but then, like, somehow Darth Maul survived. I don't know. Anyways. So Luke calls out to Leia, which Leia senses Luke in the Force. She knows where Luke is. They rescue Luke. Luke gets his like, on the way escape, we see, like, Luke and Vader doing Force Skype. Vader trying to seduce Luke to come to the dark side. And then Luke saying, Ben, why didn't you tell me? And then the Millennium Falcon goes into hyperspace. We see essentially Luke, Leia, and the droids in this ship where Luke is getting his new hand. Lando and Chewbacca are in the Falcon. Lando promising Leia that they'll find Luke. They'll rescue Han. And we see, like, Luke essentially comforting Leia, because we see, like, Leia's kind of, like, sad about what happened to Han. And we see Luke, Leia, and the droids look out this window in the end of the movie. And I'm surprised I was able to do this review under, like, 20 minutes at the moment. Because my other Star Wars reviews, it took me about, like, 17 to, like, 20 minutes, and I'm a hot mess. But anyways, people say that this is the best movie in the original trilogy, and there's an argument to be said about that, because you expect the heroes to win, everything being happy and cheery, kind of like how the first movie went. But no, the bad guys sure won in the terms of pretty much our main heroes were able to escape with their lives. But they lost more in a sense of they couldn't rescue Han and Carbonite. So now we have an entire movie after this where it's dedicated to, like, well, what happened to Han now? Now that Luke knows that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader, will he confront Vader? And how will that look like? Will that be smooth? How will, like, the rebellion win? If they win, will their empire lose? Or will they win? And so I honestly would have loved to have been. around when the original trilogy was coming out, because I can only imagine some like these speculations. I was technically around with the prequels, but I wasn't into Star Wars when the prequels were around. Like 1999, I was 3. I didn't care about the any movies outside like Barney and like the Teletubbies. So I don't know, but yeah, I just wish I could have been around when the original trilogy was a thing, because that seemed to be a really amazing time. A really amazing time. But like this movie was really good. I really didn't enjoy it. Of course, like I feel like what I mean, I'll even bring the other two movies into the mix in the original trilogy. What the X example two, but I'm mostly focused on Empire Strikes Back. What Empire Strikes Back does, what most movie fails to do nowadays, it centers around storytelling. It focuses on storytelling, character development. Like Rian Johnson wanted to subvert our expectations of the Last Jedi, and that was negatively received. George Lucas subverted our expectations in terms of Anakin Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker getting killed by Darth Vader. Oh, we got our expectations subverted by when Vader said that classic line, "I am your father." We got our expectations subverted when the heroes lost and the villains won. We got it our expectations averted a bit when Han, Leia, Chewbacca, and Lando weren't successful in rescuing Han Solo in this movie. This movie does subverting expectations well. Something that Rian Johnson could take a note in. And this movie is a really phenomenal movie. And if you guys have not seen Empire Strikes Back, please do. You guys will love it. But yeah, Luke may still in a way be the whiny boy from Tatooine, but I can kind of see the beginnings of him maturing in this movie a little bit. And Luke is my favorite Star Wars character and Jedi. And I do love how loyal he is despite cuz Yoda and Obi-Wan did warn Luke. Yeah, don't do this. This is risky, but Luke's loyalty and love for his friends was what made him say, you know what? I respect you guys, but I gotta go with my friends. I won't ever forget myself if I don't save my friends. And I respect that a lot, and I value that a lot, and I wonder if Luke did not save his friends, how different would not only the ending of this film would be, but the events of Return of the Jedi and you can say the sequel trilogy be. Regardless if you count, if you favorite the Thrawn trilogy as your sequel trilogy or the Disney trilogy as your sequel trilogy, how different would both those trilogies be if Luke if Luke actually did as he was told and stayed at Dagobah and not go save or attempt to save all of his friends at Cloud City. How different would things be if he chose that? That is an interesting mindset to think of, if that makes sense. And but anyways, what do you beautiful people? What do you beautiful people have to say? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. I will talk to you fellow mutants later. May the force be with us all.